Hello everyone, this is Joel Davis with the United Medical Transportation Providers Group. And you are thebroker.com, helping you to build a highly effective and highly profitable broker business. We got two great emails. The first one is from Tim. I believe you are in Michigan, Tim. Forgive me if I'm wrong and confusing you with somebody else. But Tim has an insurance agency in Michigan. He's been with us in the $1 Million Transportation community for a little bit. And he wants to know what is the earning potential for the first 1 or 2 years of the broker business. And then John in Florida wants to know, why do we not cater to smaller deliveries in the $10 to $25 price range? So in a moment, I'm going to take you to the computer and I'm going to quote unquote put pen to paper and literally break down some of these numbers. Now, the reason why I don't tell you what I was making the first 1 or 2 years is because my business model back then was absolutely completely different. In fact, it was almost unrecognizable compared to what it is now. Back then, I actually owned box trucks. And I talk about this in great detail in your training material. So for those of you active licensees, you're familiar with this story. For those of you who haven't yet studied it, again, in the training material, I'm going to break it down from start to finish. I'm going to talk about how I owned box trucks. And I did for the first few years. And then we sold them to some of our contractors. So those first few years of my business were unrecognizable compared to what my business is now, because now we are effectively and efficiently streamlined, completely different from what we were in the first few years, where I was working to figure all this out and build the business model that we have today. So when you start your broker business, you're not starting where I was in late 2011 and throughout 2012, 13, and into 14. Listen, I'm going to break it down for you where I did own box trucks. But let me be clear, I do not want you to own box trucks. I've stressed several times, I'm going to stress it again now. This is a cash-rich, asset-poor business. My broker business is immeasurably more efficient, immeasurably more profitable now than when it was when I owned box trucks. Not to mention, stress, nonsense doesn't even compare. So to be clear, although I did own box trucks in the first few years of my business, what I teach you is to build your business as I did in around the middle of 2014, when we liquidated our box trucks and we really eased into the great business model that we have now that's very effective, very efficient. So when we go to the computer here in a minute, I'm going to demonstrate how if you only perform 10 deliveries per day. Now let me be clear, I'm not trying to belittle anybody, but for those of you out there who call yourself an entrepreneur, if you cannot build a business that performs 10 deliveries in a day, then you need to stop calling yourself an entrepreneur and start putting out job applications, because entrepreneurship, honestly, it's not the gig for you. So now when I show you this on paper, quote unquote paper, on the computer, I am assuming you duplicate my numbers. Last year in 2017, my deliveries accounted for 35% of our revenue, and our deliveries in total averaged $101.36. So I'm going to round that down to 100. And again, the example I show you is only if you do 10 deliveries 6 days a week. That's the example I'm going to show you. So already the numbers should be going off in your head. It doesn't account for our express moves. Last year in 2017, express moves accounted for 29% of our revenue, and they averaged $389.74. So let's jump over there. Let's break this thing down, and I'm going to meet you on the backside. In response to John and Tim's emails where they asked about why we don't cater to smaller, quicker work orders and how much money you can anticipate generating in your first 1 or 2 years of business, let's use a very realistic, real-world scenario that mirrors what we did in my broker business. So in 2017, deliveries comprised 35% of our revenue. the average delivery work order was $101.36. So let's round that to $100 for easy demonstration purposes. If you only average 10 work orders per day, again, only average 10 work orders per day, I would have to assume you're only working part-time to generate that. But if so, you would generate $1,000 in revenue per day. Again, this is a clear illustration of why we don't focus in on the $10, $15, $20 deliveries. Everything that I share with you is designed to find the sweet spot, the highest profitable price point and earning potential in this business model. So again, if you only average 10 work orders per day, that would be $1,000 per day in revenue. How many work orders would you have to generate doing $5, $10, $15, $20, $25 deliveries to comprise $1,000 in revenue doing quick deliveries? So again, this is exactly why we focus in on the sweet spot, the higher price point, the higher earning deliveries. Now, if you only averaged 10 work orders per day, 6 days a week, again, this broker business is very much a 7-day per week business. However, realistically, you're not going to be in operation on Christmas, Thanksgiving, typically not Easter. Let's also consider maybe on Tuesday you had a slow Tuesday and you only did 5 deliveries, or Thursday was slower and you only did 8 deliveries. Regardless, if you only average 10 work orders, 6 days per week would generate $6,000 in revenue per week. Now, at $6,000 per week at 52 weeks a year, that's $312 in revenue. Again, just doing deliveries. I would assume working part-time because you're only doing 10 deliveries on average per day. So to be clear, this would be 10 work orders a day, 60 work orders a week, or 3,120 total delivery work orders per year. And remember, you are not paying commission on the total $312,000. Why? In 2017, 70% of our work orders incurred the $10 surcharge. That means right there, $70 per day, I am not going to pay commission on our commission-free surcharges. If you didn't watch the previous videos where I talked about the $10 surcharges, go back and watch those videos. And 40% of our work orders invested in the $20 hassle-free insurance. So that's another $80 per day that I do not pay commission. I do not pay commission to our contractors on the $10 surcharges or the $20 hassle-free insurance. Again, if you didn't watch the previous video about hassle-free insurance, make sure you watch that video. So right off the bat, there's $150 a day, $900 a week, or $46,800 per year that is commission-free earnings. So we've generated a total of $312 in revenue less our $46,800. So in total, the only amount that I am willing to pay commission on is the $265,200. So on average, my contractors for deliveries will earn 70%. You may pay less. The industry standard for something similar to this is far less. But I have very good quality contractors. I want them to be happy. I want them to be well compensated. So I pay them 70%. So at 70% on the $265,000, my contractors are going to earn $185,000 plus. So you can see why some of my contractors are making 6 figures and why they love being in my network. This also means that your earned commission is pennies below $80,000. So with a gross earnings of $79,560 plus the $46,800 in customer surcharges and hassle-free insurance, that brings our total gross earnings up to $126,360. And remember, this does not include additional ancillary charges that we talk about in detail
in the YouAreTheBroker.com training system, nor does this include Express Moves or any other service that we talk about in detail in the training system. And remember, in 2017, the average Express Moves in my broker business was $389.74. Again, if you didn't watch those previous videos where I talked about Express Moves, go back and watch those videos. Again, Express Moves in 2017 averaged $389.74 and comprised 29% of our annual revenue. Now, one charge that will be universal to everybody is your average merchant service fee, where you're paying out money to the credit card processors. So let's estimate an average of 3%. So 3% on $312,000 is $9,360 that you will pay out to your merchant services for all of your processing for Amex, Discover, Visa, MasterCard. Now, another expense that you would want to consider to include in here is the person answering your phone. With a business this size, this small, almost working part-time, either you may be answering the phone and or a business partner or a spouse. So again, I don't include the charges for someone answering your phone, because how you structure a small business like this in the early stages of your business is entirely up to you. So at $126,360 less the merchant fees of $9,360, you're looking at about $117,000 total. And again, this is if you only average 10 work orders per day, operating 6 days per week. So at such a modest level of only 10 work orders per day, realistically, you only need a select group of key contractors to fulfill these work orders. At this stage, this is not a big business, but you can see how this business can quickly and exponentially multiply into a million and multi-million-dollar business.
So when you see those numbers, this is why we've sent out a lot of applications, and many of you have become licensees. That's awesome. We love it. Congratulations. We look forward to working with you. But a lot of people we sent out applications to, and they never responded. They see the numbers, they see how much it costs to get in, they want no part of it. I mean, all we do is just laugh and shake our heads, because you have no idea. I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you. You have no idea the opportunity you're missing. This is a cash-rich, asset-poor business, and the numbers speak for themselves. Bottom line, if you can't put together an absolute minimum 10 deliveries a day, again, that's just deliveries I showed you. It doesn't include any other source of revenue. It doesn't include many of the ancillary charges, because again, every business is different. Every delivery is different. Okay, you could have 2 deliveries that are similar, but someone has more needs, they have more requests. Guess what? The price goes up because their needs, the demand, it warrants a boost in the work order volume. So therefore, you make more money, the contractor makes more money. So again, if you can't duplicate just that simple example, I would encourage you honestly to go put out job applications. This is not complicated. Let me answer John even more specifically. When you look at the example I just shared with you, I hope and I trust you see why we don't waste our time with those nickel and dime $10, $20, $25 deliveries. Think about was it Uber Express and Uber Delivery, all these rideshare services. They are leveraging their rideshare platform, getting the common, quote unquote, common person out there with their own POV, personally owned vehicle, to go do quick little deliveries. I don't even fight that traffic. We don't even waste our time with that. How many, in addition to fighting with more competition, how many of those deliveries would we have to do to get the volume I just showed you? And I just showed you, if you only did 10 work orders per day and you averaged $100, which obviously is very feasible because last year was 101.36. If you did just that little bit, how much money can you make? Again, For those of you who have become licensees, awesome. We look forward to meeting you at the upcoming seminar in July. For those of you going through the process, complete it as soon as possible. So again, because if we max out our room in Atlanta, then we max out the room. So it's a first come, first serve basis, to be honest with you. For those of you who did get applications and you never completed the process, I'm not sure what your reasoning is. Maybe it's you're fighting the battle of personal pride. You don't want to spend that money. You're too hesitant. You're too cautious. You're not sure. Maybe we'll see you down the road. Just understand, our secret launch ends at the end of June. Then this goes to the exclusive launch. Price goes up dramatically. And then obviously when we quote unquote go public later this year, that's when the price will have doubled from where we first started in February of this year. So keep that in mind. You're missing out on a great opportunity. And again, trust me, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing with you because we shake our heads. Like if you could see what we see and know what we know, and we have so many people who are just sitting on their hands, it's a crying shame, because this truly is a great opportunity because it's cash rich, asset poor. The absolute greatest thing that you have when it comes to your business, the absolute greatest wealth building tool that you have at your disposal is your cash flow. It's the amount of money that you are bringing in, and I'm going to show you how to bring in a lot of money. And some of you who are sitting on your hands and you absolutely think you're right, let me tell you something. Sometimes it's actually better to be rich than to be right. And no, I'm not talking about any type of morality issues, absolutely not. But when it comes to this business, I can assure you, it is infinitely better to be rich than it is to be right. So if you haven't yet become a licensee, do it sooner rather than later, because the end of June is going to come soon. We're almost at May. So complete the process. Let's get this party started. I'm going to see you in July, because when I see you in July, I'm going to see you at the top.